Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. I feel like there is so much misinformation online at the moment, especially over on TikTok, that I feel like it's my duty to share some of my favorite skincare experts and some of the expert advice, suggestions, and even product recommendations that I gained from those people, and some of my favorite content of theirs with you today. So check out everybody I'm mentioning today in the description box down below and all the links to the videos and social content that I mentioned. There's a few things that I have to thank Dr. Shah and Dr. Maxfield for in this video, but one of them is introducing me to the sponsor of this segment of today's video, and that is Kure and their micro infusion system. And I know you've seen this because I have been asked to try this a lot. So I did. So for those of you who aren't aware of what this is a pretty unique 2-in-1 system that uses 24 karat gold plated 0.5mm needles to create invisible micro channels in your skin by stamping. And this stimulates the skin's natural healing process whilst also allowing those serums that you get in the system to go directly into the skin. I'll be honest, I don't really like getting facials. I don't have time to get facials or going out in public in general, to be honest with you. So being able to get these like clinical results at home for a fraction of the price has been really, really nice. And it really is easy to use. I was a little bit intimidated at first, but I followed the video instructions that they have, which made it super easy. You get your kit, you pour the serum into the device changer, leave it upside down for a couple of minutes, and then on a cleansed, dry face, you start stamping. It's so easy. It's so easy and not as intimidating as I first thought. The serum I'm using here is called the Serum Concentrate for Wrinkles, and that targets fine lines and wrinkles. It helps soothe redness, which is something I always need. And it also helps boost hydration for brighter looking skin, more hydrated looking skin. And that's thanks to the beta glucan in here. Skin tone looks more even thanks to the niacinamide, and I just look more rejuvenated. My skin just looks better. It looks nice, you know? And we can't forget peptides as well, which can help reduce the appearance of fine lines. All these amazing science-backed ingredients being delivered directly into the top layer of my skin. Now, I personally don't find this painful in any way whatsoever, but it may feel a little bit uncomfortable for some or just in certain areas of your face. And you are left a little bit red, but that redness quickly fades away and you're just left with glowing skin. Literally in like an hour or so it was done. But that's why I do it in the evening. I noticed this especially the next morning when I wake up with my skin not just looking shiny from product, but it also feels deeply hydrated and looks super dewy as well. And they recommend you do this once every 2 weeks for maximum results. And I need to mention what I'm mentioning next because I know a lot of people are going to ask about this, especially with my regretful history of derma rolling. This is not like derma rolling. This system is, first of all, sterile, as each needle head is a single use needle head, reducing the risk of infections. And unlike rolling, which can actually cause unnecessary damage and trauma for the skin, stamping doesn't over damage the skin and minimizes that risk of irritation. It's a more uniformed delivery too. As of filming this video, I would have been using this for actually four or 5 weeks-ish. And I love it so far. I'm at that age now when it comes to skincare where I'm like, okay, but like, what's next? What's next for my skin? What are those extra little things I can be doing at home to take my skin to the next level? And Kure's microinfusion system seems to be that answer. My only regret is I wish I had used it sooner. Like the moment Dr. Shah and Maxfield recommended it and the moment people were asking me to review it in the comments, I wish I had kind of like jumped on that. But Kure is actually offering up to 55% off exclusive bundles. So make sure to use the link in the description down below to get your hands on these bundles. And thank you to Kure for sponsoring a segment of today's video. Speaking of Dr. Shah and Dr. Maxfield from the channel Doctorly, it is a great channel to check out if you want two dermatologists who are great at giving out professional advice without sensationalizing everything for the sake of a viral TikTok video, which, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a lot of skincare professionals do on TikTok nowadays. They're more about the views than the good information. And this advice is from their Rosacea Dermatologist Deep Dive video. And to me, this advice sounds so obvious now on reflection, in hindsight. But there are a few things that have really helped me control my redness and rosacea. I still have it. It's not curable, but I have it so much more under control now that it doesn't bother me. And people have actually started commenting, especially in the last year, about how much better my rosacea looks. I also put that down to living a much healthier lifestyle in the last year, watching what I eat in the last year. I don't know the science behind it, but there was definitely a link between my IBS, my gut, all the issues I was having with that this time last year, and my rosacea flare-ups. But also, since watching that Dr. Lee video about 3 years ago now, their advice is so simple, and that's to treat your rosacea prone skin like you have sensitive skin. It sounds so obvious, but this advice literally changed the way I look at actives, sunscreen, what I spend my money on, the ingredients I prioritize. So for the last 2 to 3 years now, I've been treating my skin like it's fucked. Constantly. Even when my skin is the best it's ever been, I avoid high percentage actives and now skin healing, soothing, and barrier building products that some would only use when their skin is in desperate need of them are now just part of my everyday skincare routine. Now, that does mean that every so often I'm able to use products like Pills, microinfusion. I'm going to start my journey with Tret soon. I'm now able to use these types of products with no worry that my skin is going to act out really aggressively or it's going to bother my rosacea, because it's so cared for now and resilient and stronger compared to where my skin was 3 years ago, simply because I've been treating it like it's constantly ruined. But look, it's rosacea. It sticks around. It's not going anywhere. It's not curable. I use one wrong product. I eat something that doesn't agree with me. I'm stressed. I exercise. I'm going to flare up because that's rosacea. But it doesn't feel as aggressive as it once was. The next advice was from Dr. Michelle Wong, Lab Muffin Beauty Science, and that is that hyaluronic acid doesn't need to be applied to damp skin, and it doesn't suck moisture out of your skin or out of your environment. So Michelle from Lab Muffin Beauty Science explains that hyaluronic acid is more like sticky tape than magnets, in the sense that humectants grab onto water that it bumps into. It doesn't just draw them towards them, and that includes drawing moisture out of your skin. Water's leaving your skin constantly, right? Constantly. So hyaluronic acid is actually there just catching it. So you may be thinking, well, surely in that case, applying water to your skin with hyaluronic acid is a good thing because that supplies the humectant with water, right? To help plump out your skin. Well, no, that's not necessary, because what are products formulated with? Water. All of them has water in. Dr. Michelle Wong explains that moisturizers are at least 70% water anyway, and serums are roughly 80% water as well. So your products are actually formulated with enough water in them for your humectants to grab onto and just do the job that they need to do. The only reason, and my reason, that I do apply some humectants to damp skin is for the way it looks. I feel that, first of all, some serums, hyaluronic acid serums, especially the cheaper ones, can be a little bit gloopy. They can tend to feel like a little bit sticky on the skin, and I do feel like adding water to your face or applying it to damp skin kind of helps get rid of that feeling and kind of just makes it feel like a little less sticky. Also though, if you want super dewy skin, applying it to damp skin is kind of just like a hack to keep it looking more hydrated. It's not going to be more hydrated just because you stuck some water on your skin. It's going to look a lot more dewy. So if you want that like glass skin look super easily, apply any product with humectants into damp skin, right? A lot of the science we know nowadays stems from Lab Muffin Beauty Science having to set the record straight, and skinfluencers, whether they be consumers like me or industry professionals, we regurgitate this information that gets passed on and passed on and passed on. So if you're following me, I'm pretty sure you're following Michelle from Lab Muffin already, and if you're into skincare and skincare science, then I feel like it's a must. You have to go and follow her. If you really want to know more about skin science and really like the cosmetics industry as a whole, I highly recommend her book, The Science of Beauty, which is described as a comprehensive guide into beauty and skincare trends, offering more evidence-based insights to kind of help us make informed decisions about our personal skincare routines, what's right for us, what's not, and helping us to understand what's in our products, how the industry works a little bit more, and things we can be on the lookout for. It's the first book I've read, physical book I've read for a really, really long time, maybe because it's got pictures in it and that's kind of what I need, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks. There is an audiobook version available, but it's just so interesting, very interesting, and very good infographics. Your products aren't FDA approved and they can't claim to be either. If you don't already know Capricornium Skin on Instagram, go follow him now. Tony is certified in regulatory compliance practices. I don't know the real terms to use, but his posts are always so enlightening, especially when it comes to like the language brands use, the terms and tricks they use to almost confuse the consumer. And this post is one I found particularly interesting, especially when it comes to product claims. The FDA doesn't pre-approve cosmetics before they hit the shelves. Now, let's not get all EWG about this and start getting scared that our products are, these unregulated, nasty things, because they're not. So Tony explains in this post that the FDA does not approve any cosmetics before they hit the market. In fact, any product claiming this is using false advertising, which is illegal. Cosmetic ingredients also do not require specific FDA approval, with the exception of colored additives, because all products must clearly and verifiably be safe before they go on sale. If they aren't, they are illegal and subject to recalls, fines, and more. And no brand wants to do that. So whilst the FDA aren't approving every single cosmetic product that we use on our face, brands aren't wanting to launch illegal products. They're not wanting to break the law. It's not a good money-making idea. He goes on to explain that products that do need pre-market approval are new and prescription drugs, medical devices, color and food additives. Things that don't need pre-market approval are cosmetics, compounded drugs, food products, and supplements. And he finishes by saying that any cosmetic product, skincare, makeup, shampoo, etc., claiming to be FDA approved is doing so illegally. So call them out. And finishes by saying the FDA does not approve cosmetics for sale, but regulates their safety after they are on the market. I've had a lot of claims recently that certain cosmetics I use, tools aren't FDA approved. It's because they don't have to be. They don't have to be. But you will notice that the FDA are very good at recalling products. It happens often, not all the time, not often enough to be scared about things, but it does happen fairly often, and they are on it. They are on it. So don't let FDA approved product. I couldn't even do it. My hands are so cold I can't move them properly. Don't let FDA approved products fool you. Let's move on to Chemist Confessions. Serums, essences, and toners are all the same thing. Chemist Confessions are a chemist duo, and this is something that I already really knew, but it's nice to be able to back it up with an expert basically saying it. And this video that I'm going to share is actually a video talking about whether you apply toner, essence, or serum first. And the premise of the video is that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because to them, as chemists, these products are all the same, and the only difference is whatever the brand wants to call them. I've talked about this many times before, but essence, toner, serum really did used to be 3 different categories. Toners, which evolved from astringents, which evolved from pH balancing products, were primarily just rehydrating products that you're supposed to use after a rather stripping cleanse, but cleansers nowadays very rarely actually strip your skin. So now toners have evolved into something that is somewhat of a liquid serum. Essences very much used to be about brightening the skin, well aging, fermented ingredients, niacinamide, kind of just making your skin look better. While serums were all about high percentage actives, having a dedicated serum per skincare concern. But now that's all merged into one. A good example of this is Torridin's Dive-In Low Molecular Weight Hyaluronic Acid Serum. It's a toner. This is a toner. If this was in a different bottle, it would be a toner. The only difference is that they've changed the packaging and they want to call it a serum. These milky toners would have been called essences 5 years ago, purely because of the glowy, the anti-aging, fermented ingredients. It's all just merged into one. And I do think this needs to be made clearer because a lot of people do still see the toner, essence, serum step as 3 different steps, and they 100% can be, but we need to be more mindful. We know what we're doing. Other people need to be more mindful of what these ingredients are, because without knowing it, people are using high percentage actives in 3 different stages of their routine, leading to damaged skin barriers, irritated skin, people thinking that certain products don't work for them when really they're just overdoing it. Chemist Confessions are a great page to follow if you just want to know a bit more about what goes into your skincare products. Again, dismissing a lot of industry fluff as well. So let me know if you're already familiar with these creators. Recommend me some in the comments down below. There are a ton that I follow. I used to have my personal recommendation list, and this was really people that I feel I really trust because they update their own information. Nothing they say is black and white. There's always nuance, and there's a few signs you can look out for. I'll put this here that you can actually screenshot really quick. And this is from the EcoWell, another great source to follow. But these are things to look out for when you're trying to find an expert that you truly trust. And anybody that kind of ticks any of these boxes, you might want to reassess. And whilst as consumers, we may not be industry experts, it's important to know what to look out for. So yes, leave those comments down below. And thank you to Cure for sponsoring a segment of today's video. I will of course link that with the massive discount in the description down below. See you next time. Bye.